when you want to go for a job, they're going to be posted. A lot of times they're now posted on the internet. You go in there, you find a job, you'll be applying to that job. You start off with your resume, making sure that your resume and your cover letter is geared towards that job that you're applying for. So, you know, if they're asking for specific things, make sure that you highlight those things in there, because each one will have, these are certain assets that we're looking for. So, one of the things that you can do is you can find out the key initiatives for each school board, for the schools. A lot of schools give you a lot of information about their schools on their website. Again, know the job that you're applying for, know the curriculum for that job that you're going to be applying for, so that you can talk you know, knowledgeably about it. And you know, find out when the hiring timelines are, the process for hiring for the board. So this is all research and all things that you can do. Go onto the board website, phone the human resources, any connection you have, ask. The more information you have to help plan, when you prepare for the interview, you know, there are only so many types of questions that can be asked. They all sort of fall into certain groups. So you have your warm-up questions, which are the ones that, you know, the sort of like little softballs that you're given to help you sort of feel comfortable, because our job is not to put you on the spot. Our job is to make you show your best, so that we can make a decision saying, is this the person that we want? And so if we're always trying to make the people feel uncomfortable, then we're not seeing your best, and we may be losing out on a very, very good person. So, you know, my philosophy, and most people's philosophy when you're interviewing, is what can I do to make you feel comfortable so that you can show me what you know, and present yourself in the best way. So, you know, you'll have a warm-up question. That, you know, an example of a warm-up: why would you like to come to work at Bristol? You know, so be prepared. So one of those things when I'm saying about the preparation, think of the sort of warm-up questions that are, be able to talk about yourself, your qualifications, that sort of thing. Another question is qualities. You know, certain qualities that you look for. I'm looking for people that are constantly learning. I'm looking for people who are really flexible. I'm looking for people with really good social skills and that have great social cognition. I'm looking for people that can work with a variety of different students. So those are qualities questions. So you're going to have to, you know, think about why, you know, how have I demonstrated that I'm flexible? How have I demonstrated that I'm a lifelong learner? Those sort of things. Be prepared for that sort of question. You will get a program planning and assessment question. You know, tell me about, you're given a such and such a classroom with this, how would you go about doing your planning? You know, and then you get into talking about backwards design, you know, collecting your resources in the curriculum, you know, tying your assessment into your program, the teaching and learning cycle that you do. So be prepared. You can, you know, it doesn't matter what subject area, you can, once you have your sort of formula for answering that, and you know you will have a question on it. So know about, you know, the different forms of assessment, know how it ties into the backwards planning process, etc. Know how, you know, you start with specific expectations, how it relates to curriculum, etc. Schools being the way they are, you may be given a certain class, a grade 6 classroom, but in that grade 6 classroom you could have children anywhere from working at a grade 2 level to a grade 10 level and everything in between. Plus you may have a student who has just arrived from another country, doesn't speak any English. You could have a child with a physical handicap in the classroom. Those are all things that make a classroom very, very diverse, but also very interesting. You have to be able to know how to go about dealing with a classroom where you have that wide variety. It's just because they're in grade 6 doesn't mean that everybody does the same curriculum. It's how do you modify the program and accommodate. And know the difference between the two. You know, again, accommodation is where you take the grade level material and make it so that they can be successful with it. A modification is they're not working at that grade level, so you're using different grade level expectations. And, okay. One of the things that, you know, as you go through, you'll also see that you have a conflict resolution and classroom management. Those are, again, everywhere. Tell me, because if you can't manage a classroom, for example, you are going to have difficulty getting into the material that you should be teaching. So what are some of the tricks of the trade that you know? What are some of the things that help with the classroom management? I'll tell you something I listen for right away. If you run a good program, a well-prepared program, classroom management goes down like that. So people that say, oh, I do the timeout, I do this, I say, oh, those are all very nice, but it really comes down to, do you run an engaging program which engages kids? So that's the first step, so it relates back. And the other thing is conflict resolution. Whenever you have 30 individuals, 25 individuals in a classroom, there are going to be conflicts. It's just life, and conflicts aren't a bad thing. It's just how do you deal with them, and how are you able to resolve them? Have examples of things that you've worked with. Yes?
I had a question about that. For conflict resolution, is it important to stress your ability to resolve conflict within the classroom, or can you say bringing in prior jobs that you worked in?
Definitely prior, because you're not going to have a lot of experience with respect to in the classroom. So, when I'm looking at it, you judge it depending. If I've got a 20-year veteran, I'm going to be looking for things in the classroom. If I've got somebody who's right out of teacher's college, what I'm looking for is what is their style of conflict resolution? What are some of the skills that they use? And do they have sort of the idea and the theories behind it? And do they have the social skills that go with dealing with conflict resolution? As you see, it always comes back a lot of times to social skills and planning and understanding that. So that's some of the things that you can do for preparation. You're going to have that sort of those questions. That's pretty well, there are all going to be variations of that. So one of the key things is being able to recognize, that's a qualities question. Oh, there's a conflict resolution question. Oh, there's a planning question with assessment. Know those, practice those. All of a sudden you get into them and you say, oh, I can recognize that, how to go about answering. Which brings us to the next little section.